Now let's go to John chapter 10, because some people will say, well, that holy day is not really of God. It's of man. It's not really a Sabbath. Christ, I had one brother earlier in the week try to tell me Christ didn't keep the feast of dedication of the altar. I said, well, that's not true. So I went to this scripture in John 10:22. John chapter 10 and verse 22. It says, and it was at Jerusalem the feast of the dedication. And it was winter. So it was the 9th month of the year, the beginning of winter. And it was at Jerusalem where Israel was keeping the feast of the dedication. A feast where the altar was rebuilt, rededicated to the Most High for the priests to offer the sacrifices on the behalf of Israel to obtain the favor and grace of the Most High. In 23, and Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. So what's that showing us? That Christ himself observed the feast of the dedication of the altar. Some people will say, well, no, he didn't keep the feast. So what was he doing? Hanging out? Was he just hanging out? Hey, what's going on here? What Israel, on a spiritual sense, don't understand, especially for the ones that somehow believe that Christ didn't keep the Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of Dedication. Christ was the one with the Father. When it said the Lord guided them, that was the Most High and Christ. So Christ know all about this feast, because he was the one, by the power and authority of the Most High, that gave the Maccabees the victory over the Greeks. So a few hundred years later, during the Roman captivity, Israel's keeping the Feast of Dedication. The Lord is there observing the feast. And spiritually, he gave them the battle to win. But that's going to go over a lot of Israel's heads because, we have to humble ourselves. We have to have eyes to see and ears to hear to understand things like that. But Christ was at Jerusalem during the Feast of Dedication, and he walked into the temple at Solomon's porch.